Hello, hello, hello. This is Dr. Bad Vibes. We've got some yacht news. We've got land and air covered. Here's sea. We haven't had any yacht stories. So I've kind of followed this one a little bit. Mainly, I mean, it shows up in my news a lot because I'm an Apple user. I mean, I'm streaming and recording this on an old Mac, and I've used Apple products since the 80s, honestly. And even though Steve Jobs is kind of I mean, obviously he's not with us anymore, but he was kind of a garbage person. He was interesting to keep up with. And one of the things that always showed up in my news was his yacht. I don't think I think that was finished after his death, so he never got to actually use it. But I know his widow is traveling around on it. I haven't heard much about it in a few years until now. So someone caught the stunning moment where Steve Jobs' widow's $140 million super yacht smashed into another super yacht. And another one owned by a Mexican telecom billionaire. So the high value crash, I mean, if you're going to rubberneck any kind of accident, this would be one to look at. The high value crash involved the 78-meter Venus commissioned by the late Apple founder and now owned by Laurene Powell Jobs, and the 105-meter Lady Mora owned by Mexican billionaire business titan Richard Salinas. Let's see here. So the two liners that cost a combined $265 million slammed into each other after a vicious gust of wind off the Italian coast of Naples put them on a collision course. And we've got a video. That's what we really want to see. So, dramatic video posted on social media, taken from the Lady Mora, reveals the moment the two boats came into contact as crew members were heard screaming over the impending damage. Let's see. Okay, this is just a photo over here. This is right before the collision. I'll play the video in just a sec. Literally right before the collision. But yeah, through my tech news, I have seen some of the construction of the Jobs yacht, and it was, I mean, it's a crazy piece of engineering. I don't know if any human actually needs a yacht, but they've got one. One more photo here. So, as expected, they tried passing the buck. Both crews blamed the other for the major blunder, and regardless, Salinas admitted on social media it's going to cost a lot to fix the mistake. So both vessels were anchored when the incident unfolded. It did little to stop them from careening into each other as high winds were heard over the microphone in the footage. So the two yachts came into contact July 22nd after a sudden burst of wind that hit 55 knots. That's a big gust. After the breeze suddenly picked up, a source of the crew of the Venus told Daily Mail. So Powell Jobs wasn't aboard when her crew brought her ship into port, where it was the last vessel to arrive. So unbeknownst to the captain and crew, the $125 million Lady Mora had dropped anchor with double the amount of expected anchor chain, according to the Venus crew. Neither vessel dragged anchor when the wind picked up, but with anchor lines of different lengths, the two vessels collided with an impact Salinas says will cost big bucks. Yeah, no kidding. It's hard to believe that things like this can exist. That's just insane. It's like a cruise ship for one person. Let's see here. So video taken from the Mora could suggest that it is the Venus approaching the larger vessel, but according to the Venus crew, it was the Lady Mora with her longer anchor line who swung into the Venus. Yeah, that's I mean, no one will know. So a ball on the bow of the Venus, which is visible in the video, indicates she was at anchor at the time of incident. The two captains spoke after the incident, concluding it was a minor incident needed repairs. I mean, two expensive boats bumped that nobody sank. So they both blame each other, and they joke, it will cost more than a few iPhones to get the Mora in shape. So writing in Spanish, the billionaire said he'd like to know what was happening with the captain and crew, that they weren't able to see a yacht the size of his right in front of them. Fair enough. Yeah, do they have a dash cam? Let's look at the dash cam footage. So the good thing is that it was nothing more than a scratch, but it was a big scratch that's going to cost a lot to fix. He wrote it with ha ha ha. That suggests he was putting it behind him. Yeah, I mean, if you can afford a $250 million vehicle, I don't think you're too worried about money. But he also took the opportunity to insult those involved, saying he shared the video so people can see that there are still, quote, still idiots in the world. Then he made a pitch for one of his many companies, Electra.mx, whatever the heck that is, urging people to buy Apple products to help pay for the repairs. Okay. And yeah, so Powell Jobs inherited her yacht, which was meticulously designed by French designer Philip Starck in collaboration with her late husband, who is famous for devoting himself to minute design details of things he owned and products he sold. Yeah. So I did read slash listen to the Jobs biography, and I think he was working on the yacht up until his death, and that was like one of his last projects, and it had a lot of crazy stuff inside. It's been a while. I remember like it didn't have a traditional control panel. It was just like a row, like several rows of iMacs, and that's what controlled everything. Let me look here. I'll play the video. Let's see him crash. But okay, here we go. Here's the yacht video. Oopsie. That is some angry screaming. Oof. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna buff that out. It's not quite as fantastical. It was basically just a fender bender, if even that. Let's try to remember all those poor billionaires that might have to spend money fixing their mega yachts.